Today we're building drawers. We're going to cover how to design, build, and install drawers in your work van setup so you can store away more tools and keep a clutter-free cargo area. Hey, I'm Matt with the Handy Manual. Welcome back to the channel. I'm excited because today we're going to build arguably my favorite part of my van setup. These drawers are so versatile and can house so many different tools. This is part 4 of the 6-part series on how to build everything in your van. And if you've stuck with us so far, I'm really impressed. My goal with this series is to show you how to build all the components of your van setup so there's less figuring it out yourself. It's so critical to have a tool management system for your own peace of mind and to appear more professional to your clients. Let's jump into the build.
Step number 1, design it. So just like in the last video where we were designing the shelves, you want to figure out how long you need the drawers based on the tools you'll be storing. I built mine on the right side, as you can see, and I plan to build a miter saw swing out shelf where the side doors of the cargo area are, so I didn't want my drawers to encroach on that. The overall length of the drawers is 55 inches, which is long enough for a retractable painting pole, long clamps, plastic sheeting rolls, a zip wall system, and a 4-foot level. It's important to note that for the drawers and shelves, I set them in the van back about 12 inches from the rear doors when they're closed. I plan to install some tools on the doors, which we'll be diving into in the next video, and made sure there was enough room for that. I plan to match the height of the left side shelves, which was 42 inches, as well as an overall depth of 13 inches. This meant that with the 3/4 inch ply I was using, taking into account both sides of the drawer housing plus both sides of the drawer itself, this would bring the inner dimension down to about 10 inches wide. I wanted to create a dado system as well, where the drawers slid into dados. The key was to make the fit of the drawers just right for them to slide freely in the dados over the span of the 55 inches, but also snug enough to create some friction so that the drawers didn't pull out in transit. There was a fine line, and it wasn't a deal breaker if I didn't get that right, but I'm happy to say I pulled it off. I wanted to be able to slot in dividers for further organization of tools, so I plan to cut dados in the drawers every 8 inches or so. Step number 2, build it. So in building it, we have 2 components: the carcass, which is essentially the housing for the drawers to slide into, and the drawers themselves. For the carcass, I cut both sides at 55 inches long and 42 inches tall, as mentioned. I rabbited the tops of the side pieces for the top piece to slot into, and I did this for the bottom as well. I used a router and plunge with scrap pieces of wood clamped to the surface to act as a guide for the router to follow. Next, I laid out the dimensions of the drawers. They were all equal sizes. And to prevent the sides of the carcass from bowing out over time, I spaced the drawers with a 2-inch gap from the bottom of one drawer to the top of the next. There were a total of 2 gaps, and I did this to be able to fasten a 1x2 oak piece cross brace for added strength. I joined the drawers using construction adhesive and screws. I left an additional gap at the bottom of the carcass to be able to slide in my levels. I had a 2-foot level and a 4-foot level. And I cut strips of plywood to make a perimeter for each level, then glued and screwed those down to the bottom piece of the carcass. Step number 3, install it. So with the build complete, it was time to test fit all the drawers in the carcass before installing to make sure there wasn't any final tweaking to be done. With that all set, I installed the carcass and I used 4 L brackets. They're Simpson strong tie brackets, 2 mounted on the floor on the rear and front, and 2 on the top, rear and front. I then inserted the drawers, and they worked like a charm. As a bonus tip, if the drawers are a little tough to pull, use some grease, run them through the table saw to shave off a 1/16 of an inch or so, or install some gate handles for more leverage, or you can do all 3. And with that, the drawers are complete.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed part 4 on how to construct everything in your van. The inside is almost complete. There's one final section to take care of inside, and you'll see that in part 6. But first, in the next video, you'll see how to outfit the doors. I'm really excited for the next 2 and final videos in this series. These components were the projects that I had the most fun working on, so you won't want to miss these. At this point, we're pretty far along in the series, so before continuing on, you might want to check out the other videos in the series if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, take care, and be well.